Hello YouTube, it's Rex, and I'm back with another Dusty 2 video. In this video, I'm going to be doing a new series calling The Big Three, where I take the three main exotics for each subclass and pit them against each other to find out which truly is the best. Now that might sound controversial, and it kinda is, because it's still my opinion at the end of the day, so take it with a grain of salt, nothing is factual, and let me know what your favorite exotic is in the comments below. So, this video, I'm starting with the Voidwalker subclass, and I will be picking these three exotics: Nezarec Sin, exotic helmet; Contraverse Hold, exotic gloves; and the Secant Filaments, exotic boots. So I'll be basing these exotics on three main stats: freedom, how free is the build, on what you're using for weapons, mods, armor, and subclass. How is it a neutral game? Is it good just to put on and use in anything, such as story missions, raids, grandmasters, strikes, and different stuff besides Crucible. And lastly is fantasy. Does it fulfill the fantasy of what the exotic says it does? Like I said, based on grenades, are you getting a lot of grenades? If it's based on supers, are you getting a lot of supers? Is your super lasting longer? Or is it based on abilities and your ability spamming? So those are the three factors I'm going to be testing it on from 1 to 10. And then I'll give it a main score from 1 to 10 on how good I think it is. And last but not least, I want to make it fair and square, so there's no mods on my armor, and all the weapons are going to be the same, and I'm not using any artifacts. The only thing I'll be changing is the subclass, so this is what I'm using for the first build: Cataclysm, Nova Bomb, Healing Rift, Balanced Glide, Magnetic Grenade, Feed the Void, Child of the Old Gods, Echo of Persistence, Echo of Reprisal, Echo of Expulsion, and Echo of Instability. And the first exotic we'll be using is a Nezarec Sin exotic helmet, which reads Abyssal Extractors, Void Damage Kills, Increases Ability, Energy Recharge Rate. So, we're going to be testing out in a Legend Lost Sector, 15 levels under. So, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, we're in the Lost Sector, and also we're not going to be using any artifact mods, just so we can use this any season and it can work. So, I'm not going to be using any mods that enhance our gameplay. So, the perk reads Void Ability Kills, or Void Damage Kills, increases your Void Ability Recharge Rate. So, we're going to be wasting all of our abilities just to start from scratch. And now, let's see. As you can see, I got a kill, and I gave my Abyssal Extractors for 2 seconds. There's no cooldown to this. As long as you're getting kills, you're going to be getting your energy back. Now, I do have Devour, so I might get a little bit bonus grenade energy than normal, but that's okay. I think it's still about the same. So, for freedom, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. You're able to use anything you want, but it does get enhanced when you use void damage weapons. But you do not have to use void damage weapons. You can just use your subclass abilities like grenades, melee, and stuff like that, and supers, and you will get your perk, your exotic perk to proc. Next is neutral game. I'm going to give this another 10 out of 10. Because you can use this in anything. All you gotta do is put this helmet on, put your void subclass on, put your void weapons on, get kills, and you got abilities. Last but not least, I'm gonna for freedom fantasy. I'm also gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because the fantasy is to get void damage kills to increase the recharge rate of your void abilities, and it does it really well. There's no cooldown to it. It lasts for a pretty good amount of time, and you can spam it. So I'm gonna give that a 10 out of 10. So for overall, I think this exotic is a 10 out of 10 exotic for Void, and I think you should be using it whenever you can. But that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you guys think below. So this is a long video. I'm gonna skip to the next part. I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, I'm back, and now we're gonna be testing out the exotic Contraverse Holds, which perk reads Chaotic Exchanger, resist incoming damage while charging your Void Grenade, charge Void Grenades, return grenade energy on hit. So, as it says, you have to use the Chaos Accelerant aspect, which holding down your grenade overcharges your grenade, making them deadlier. For Vortex, increases the size and linger. Axion creates this additional Seeker. Scatter has Trackers, and Magnetic creates a Void Blast. But that's okay, because it now has 2 fragment slots. So, I'm using Vortex Grenade, with a Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, and I only changed the aspect to fragment to Echo of Undermining, which weakens targets when you have grenades. So, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, I'm here. So let's test out the first perk, which is damage resistance. So let's get hit by these enemies and see how much shots we can take. Okay, about 2 or 3 seconds, and I had to back into cover. So let's do it again, but with the charge grenade. That took a little bit longer, about 4 or 5 seconds, but I would not be using this to survive. It is not enough damage resistance to keep you alive. So now let's test another perk. The next perk, where getting damage grants grenade energy. So let's see. And as you can see, I'm more than halfway, about 60%, maybe 58% on my super, just from getting hits with a grenade. So, on a scale from 1 to 10 for freedom, I'm gonna give it a 9, because you were forced to use a certain aspect and a certain grenade. But it's okay, because I got a buff this season, where now you can use 2 fragments instead of 1. So I think that gets a 9 out of 10 now. For the neutral game, I'm gonna also give it a 10 out of 10, because it is pretty good at just being a good exotic for the Void subclass, because all you need is your grenade, and it gives you a bunch of different buffs to it. Like more damage, because it lasts longer, more size, and more grenade energy, a lot more faster. So that gets 10 out of 10, and for neutral game, I'm also gonna, for fantasy, I'm also gonna give it 10 out of 10, because it's supposed to be a grenade spamming exotic, and it does its job pretty well. And you also have Devour, which increases your grenades recharge rate as well, and your health. So I think that deserves a 10 out of 10 too. So it's overall, I think it's a 10 out of 10 as well, just like Nezarec Sin. But let me know in the comments if you think it deserves less or more. And let's move on to the last exotic of this video. Empowering Rift will grant you Devour. Damage dealt by you and your allies from within your Empowering Rift will disrupt combatants. So, as it says, you're forced to use the Empowering Rift, but that's all the exotic says you have to use. So everything else is pretty good. I'm using the Echo Sensation fragment now, and the Child of the Old Gods, and the Chaos Accelerant aspects, but that's just for me. The only thing you need is the Empowering Rift for this exotic to work. So let's get to the gameplay. Alright guys, we're in the Lost Sector, so now let's test it out. So as it says, when you grant your use your Empowering Rift, you get Devour. So let's see it. Bam! I instantly got my health back, and now I have Devour perk, which grants health and grenade energy on kills, as we already know. So now he's weakened because of my Child of the Old Gods. So for your freedom, I'm also going to give it a 9 out of 10, because you have to use the Empowering Rift instead of the Healing Rift, so it makes you limited in that sense, but everything else is pretty good. You can use anything else that you want. You only have to use Empowering Rift, so I don't think it's bad. Next is neutral play, and for neutral play, I'm going to give this an 8. I don't think using your Rift in these scenarios are really the best idea. As you see, I'm about to die, but I had my Rift luckily. But yeah, I think it's good. Yes, it can. As you can see, my guns all have overload under it, but that's so limited and random. Sometimes there's not always overload champions, so yeah. And you have to be inside the Rift, so I don't think it's that good. I'm gonna give that a 8.5 out of 10 for neutral game. And last is fantasy. For fantasy, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10, because it is a exotic that gives your Rift, your Empowering Rift, the ability to heal you. So I think it does that pretty well. It instantly gives you Devour. There's no cooldown. It's just immediately, as soon as you spawn that Rift, you get it if you don't have Devour already on. So yes, I think that deserves a 10 out of 10 for its fantasy. So in all, I think it deserves a 9 out of 10. But that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you guys think below. And to finish this off, I'm going to test it on a Overload champion, just so you can see how it looks. So I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, I'm back, and now let's test it out on this Overload champion right here. When we're in our power roof. Oh, he's behind me. Ah, he got behind me somehow. Hopefully I can get it in time. As you can see, in the Empowering Rift, he is stunned. But as you can see, now that it's gone, I have to stun him myself with my Le Monarch. So I don't think it's that good for this champion stunning, especially if you die. But it does do it well. As long as you get a shot, it's going to stun the enemy. It gives all your guns overload rounds in the Rift, so I think that's pretty good. But I still don't think that changes my opinion. I think it's still a 9 out of 10 for me. But let me know in the comments if it deserves higher or worse. Thanks for watching the video. Like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Destiny 2 videos. Thank you guys for almost 500 subscribers of this video. I'm at like 495. I didn't think I would ever get that far that fast. So thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you later.